Welcome back to Dang Media TV. Dan Forrester, a biology teacher and former Green Beret, is disappointed after failing to get a job at the Army Research Laboratory. Later, during the internationally televised World Cup, a soldier in 2051 enters the square through his portal to time. They announced that in November 2048, an alien race called White Spike suddenly appeared in northern Russia and wiped out most of the population within 3 years. The modern world sends an army into the future through a wormhole device, but less than 30% of him survive a 7-day deployment, resulting in international conscription. Dan receives a draft notice and wears a temporary armband to track him down and retrieve him when he is alive at the end of the 7th. The conscripts were dispatched in time to the Miami Beach battlefield, where the commander ordered them to rescue nearby laboratory personnel before the area was sterilized. All are found dead, but recovering their research, and only Dan has 2 other conscripts, a scientist named Charlie and a conscript named Dorian on his 3rd mission. You survived an arson attack with your soldiers. Dan wakes up in a military camp in the Dominican Republic, supervised by his daughter Murray as a colonel. Murray tells Dan that she has a toxin that kills male white spikes but not female queens, and she captures female white spikes and refines her toxins to make them deadly to her. Ask for his help. She also tells Dan that she has a history of disillusionment after failing to get her research job, divorcing her wife Emmy, and dying in a car accident when Murray was 16. Rice Field. They capture a female white spike, only to be attacked by hundreds of males and narrowly escape by helicopter to a fortified offshore oil platform with a wormhole device. Murray manages to develop a deadly poison for the female white spike, but since it cannot be mass-produced at the moment, he asks Dan to bring it back to the past and produce it there to sabotage the war. However, Murray sacrifices himself to bring Dan back in time, and the wormhole closes shortly after his arrival. Dan and Emmy later speculate that White Spike arrived on Earth much earlier than 2048, as there were no records of their ship's arrival. Dan and Charlie consult Martin, a former student of Dan's and an amateur volcanologist. It has been established that White Spike has probably been present on Earth since at least the Millennium Eruption of 946 AD. Dan leads a mission to Russia with Charlie, Dorian, a stranded future soldier, and his estranged father James, a Vietnam War veteran. They find an alien ship frozen in ice under the glacier at the Academy of Sciences, and suspect that global warming has set them free in the future. They inject poison into several dormant white spikes to destroy them, but this awakens the rest of the colony. Queen White Spike hatches and escapes. While Dan and James pursue the Queen, Dorian, terminally ill with cancer, stays behind and blows up the ship. After a fierce battle, Dan forced a deadly poison into her queen's throat, killing her. Satisfied with his knowledge that war was averted and humanity was saved, Dan takes James home to meet Emmy and Murray. Determined to avoid the same mistake future Murray warned him about.